need to be coming back to our community. And the reason why I brought up the church, because it is an easy hub to engage with, and this is what this station engages with. And my challenge is out there to ministers, and even if you want to put comments in there, ministers, even if you want to come to me directly, if you want to, and to contact the NHS to really bring in conversations with your congregations in conventions in a small setting. No, NHS is up for that as well.
In London, we've done some big cancer screening campaigns and had great support from faith leaders.
Brilliant.
Not just Christian faith leaders, but also imams. So from various religions and so on. So the faith community, the faith leaders, community leaders do advocate for prevention and cancer screening.
That's brilliant.
Affinity Xtra, be Xtra.
Hey guys, this is Roger here on Affinity Xtra, celebrating gospel music of black origin. We're here to celebrate us and celebrate our sound, but as you know, this is the Edge Show. So on the Edge Show, we're edgy. We keep things on, topical. We touch areas that we don't talk about, and this is uncomfortable for me, people, talking about uncomfortable things. You don't realize, guys, I've got red skin, so we see Roger's redness cheeks come up there, and we blushing the whole thing through, and we'll be doing that with the NHS series that we're doing so far, which has been an amazing partnership with the NHS, where we're looking into elements and subjects of health. We have complained as a community that we are not getting looked after, we're not getting taken care of by the NHS, but this is the conversations that we need to have, and the NHS is making themselves more and more available. But you know what the beauty of it, guys? We are talking to professionals that look like us, that are us, and who are wanting to work with us to improve the health of our community. And it's so simple to do so. We just need to, I wouldn't say stop moaning. We need to now open our eyes, open our ears to what the NHS is putting out there for us to access. And let's go for it. Now, I'm alongside Dr. Josephine Ruwende. I know I got that right. Have I?
You did. You have?
Yes. But anyway, I'm talking to a doctor, amazing doctor here, who's touching base with an area which I'm more and more fearful of because of my experiences over the past 5 years. Just to give a pitch to this is that I'm in my mid 40s, and literally about 4 years ago, I lost two friends to cancer, just as I turned 40. Both were cancer of the colon, and one of them was one of my best friends who worked with me on this project that we're talking on. And I'll never forget, it was like literally a year process for him not feeling well, and then getting the right screening, and it took a year for him to be diagnosed as cancer. I saw a different doctor and they screened it, and then he was at stage 4 cancer, and he was battling for a year and so on. Another person, he went through exactly the same cancer, and his wife died as well of the same cancer. And these guys are all a few years younger than me. They're both encouraging me to change my diet. I keep myself healthy, but my diet wasn't the greatest. I'm not saying it's great right now, but I've cut back on a lot of things. I ate some salad the other day in front of my colleague, and she said, "Where's the coleslaw?" I said, "What do you need coleslaw for?" He said, "You need to taste good." I said, that's gonna damage me, man. You know what I mean? So it has scarred me, but also it's brought a lot of fear. And where do I go from here? So the reason why I'm saying this, guys, is because we are impacted by the big C. My friend did some YouTube videos about it as well. So he even did podcasts with me while on the recovery of chemotherapy, and we kept it going. But unfortunately, he died in his 40s, and I feel like I'm in borrowed time, and that's the fear of me as a person in the community. And it's like, how's cancer gonna take me out? Yeah, so that's how I'm approaching this podcast today, guys. So please don't think you're getting all scared of me now, but I'm here talking to the doctor now, and we're gonna go through my fears and my struggles. It may be similar to yours approach to this conversation, that it's a very uncomfortable one, because I've seen the pain, and I've seen the physical, just a man going down to skin and bone and die in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And they're younger than me. So that was tough for me. That was tough for me, guys. You know, so doctor, I don't know. For me, introducing like that, was that a bit of an awkward introduction, or is this a common story that you're hearing out there in the community?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you and our community about cancer and how we can all reduce our risk of developing cancer, or if we have cancer, have that cancer diagnosed early and therefore improve our chances of survival and having good treatment outcomes. And again, thank you for sharing that personal story, Roger. And it's never easy to lose people that you love. And to lose them at an age which you feel is, too early. So I'm a consultant in public health and the cancer screening public health lead for NHS England, London region. The NHS offers 3 cancer screening programs. We offer screening for cervical cancer, for breast cancer, and for bowel cancer. And the key thing that I want to say to our audience today is that when you are invited for these cancer screening programs, it is so important to attend because cancer screening saves lives. These are programs that have the strongest evidence base of improving outcomes and actually identifying conditions that we may have that are precancerous, that increase the risk of us developing cancer, but then actually treating them early before they develop cancer. Or as I said at the top of my piece, we are detecting cancers early so that you have good treatment outcomes. The treatment is simpler and it improves your chances of survival.
That's absolutely superb. Now, you mentioned about screening. Now, let me be an ignorant black man. Yeah, I'll be ignorant black man. This is Roger here. Screening means my sister going for screening for cervical cancer from when she's 16. Screening for a man. What screening? You know what I mean? That don't affect me. But then you've mentioned something that actually does affect me, bowel cancer. Now, is this a bit of a problem, not only within our community, but for men in general, the concept of screening? But as a man, check. And I know we have the prostate cancer conversation. We've had that on a different podcast already. But how this is about for men? Is this a problem? Just really getting into the psyche of men into screening?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So with bowel cancer, this is offered to men and women, to people of all sexes, including non-binary, from the age of 60 to 74. And since 2021, we've been extending the screening age to people in their 50s. So in London, we now also screen people who are from age 56. And we do find that the screening uptake or the screening participation rates are lower in men than in women. But they are also lower in ethnic minority populations, in people from deprived backgrounds as well.
Correct. Yeah.
And some of these reasons are due to some of the factors that you have identified. People, including men or ethnic minorities, do not necessarily realize that they may be at risk of developing cancer. So if I'm inviting you at 58 to come for your bowel cancer screening test, it's a kit that's sent to you at home, but we can pick that up later. You may not feel that you are at risk of developing cancer. But also, we also find that with some people, they actually fear the outcome of the test. They're scared of what the outcome might be, being diagnosed with cancer. But the bowel cancer screening test, it's a home testing kit that's sent to your home address. And it's kind of like a test tube where you stick out of the test tube and then you then take a sample of your poo using that stick. So this could be poo that you collect with toilet paper or box, and then you take a small sample and you put it back in the tube and you post it back to the NHS for free. Now, when the NHS receives this kit, we check for microscopic levels of blood. And if we find blood, you are then invited for further tests. And these further tests normally include inserting a camera up the back end to see if you could have what are called polyps or adenomas, which are growths in the colon. Occasionally, these could be cancerous. If we find any growths in the colon, these are removed and are tested to see if they are cancerous or not, and if further treatment is required. But the really positive thing to note, Roger, is that of every 100 people who complete the screening test, 96 of them actually come back requiring no further test.
Cool.
Yes, so we don't really find any causes of concern. There is no blood in the poo that's detected.
Yeah. So it's it's a very sorry guys if you see me squeeze my face because I can't cross my, it's kind of uncomfortable. I kind of struggling to sit down while you're explaining what happens. So you got that screening process, and it's amazing now the accessibility of tests that you're literally doing from home. You don't have to book in my head. I'm thinking I have to go to the doctors, get the tube out, go and book an appointment, but you're saying that's not part of the process?
No. So as long as you're registered with the GP, around in London from age 56, so around your 56th birthday, you will receive this kit through the post box, through your letterbox, and all you have to do is complete it. When you send it back to the NHS, we send you the results within 2 weeks. So you don't have to do anything other than completing the kit.
So, as a proud Brummie, you emphasize London and you're the boss lady of London. Yeah. Now, now if I'm in Birmingham, Coventry, Manchester, Glasgow, how do we, and you might, I don't know if you do know, but how do we engage with our local authorities as such? Do we have to go to GP and just kind of nudge him and say, listen, mate, send it in the post to us? Or is it a case of, it's a different process outside of London?
It's the same across England and across the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So, so everybody around their birthday, so largely from age 60 to 74, you will receive this kit in the mail. And by 2025, we'll start from age 50. So everybody from 50 to 74, every 2 years, will receive the kit through the mail, and all they have to do is complete it.
It's amazing because
you don't have to do anything as long as you're registered with the GP. Absolutely, you don't have to go to your GP. Just complete the kit.
This is important. It's important information. It's funny because we do get a lot of information out there when it comes to healthcare and the cancer, that it's a money-making scheme, cancer is. And we do see, let me be honest with you guys, these things are being messaged to our people on WhatsApp, and we feel like it's a made-up disease, it's a condition or a man-made disease. It's funny because you're putting in preventional things in place, which shows that it's not just about treatment making money. You're trying to prevent
absolutely
the chemos of the world, the more intensive
surgery, radiotherapy,
so there's a lot of preventional talk that I'm hearing, and I'm going, that's not what. If I look at my WhatsApp, it's saying something totally different. So I do really appreciate the exposure of that fact. Now, do you feel that fear of having cancer and affording to stop work affects the people not only of color but also of lower incomes, as you mentioned, is scared of facing and battling a cancer but you can't afford to stop because you got to pay the bills? Is that a fear that you feel that's untold?
Yeah, so there are two parts to that. So some people fear a cancer diagnosis, so they don't want to know. But also people can also be fatalistic that, if I get cancer, I get cancer and there's nothing I can do about it. But the key message around all of these cancer screening programs that I have mentioned is that there's an element of prevention. So we can actually stop cancer before it starts. Or if you do have cancer, we can get in there early, offer you the treatment required. And early treatment tends to be less invasive, it's shorter, and your outcomes tend to be better. And there's absolutely no element of money making from the perspective of the NHS.
Yeah, 100%.
Prevention saves money. It saves the public sector. It saves us all money as taxpayers.
Yeah.
But also, it improves our life expectancy, so we can live longer, healthier lives, be around for our family and friends. So that definitely is a myth that would need to be quashed. There is no money-making motive around cancer at all. It is about prevention, early detection, and making sure people have the best treatment outcomes if they are diagnosed with cancer, and the best patient experience. They have a good experience of being treated within the NHS.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic, because again, guys, if you think that's irrelevant, but that's very relevant, because I feel that this culture that's been created over the past 2 years, information from random sources, we are absorbing more than from professionals. And this is what this part of this program that we are doing with the NHS is bringing professionals to you, in a way that you can understand. Now, we obviously we spoke about bowel cancer, which was, correct me if I'm wrong, having a poo in terms of a screen and having a poo and taking little bits out and sending it off to the NHS. It's not as crude as that, guys, but it's a nice, simple process, which hopefully for myself, as I get to 50, by the time I get to 50, you'll be sending in my post. So I've got 4 years, and then I'll be there going, I'm 50 years old, and then I got the cancer back. Oh no! But anyway, I'm getting older. But either way, it's something which NHS is doing, and that's fantastic. Now, your department covers cervical screening and breast. Now, I may be a man, but I've got female siblings. I haven't got daughters, but I've got goddaughters. I got nieces. And we can't be ignorant as men, because we have women around us.
Yeah, so with cervical cancer screening, you are screened every 3 years from the age of 25 to 49, and every 5 years from the age of 50 to 64. Okay. So you'll receive an invitation letter through the post, and then you have to phone your GP and make an appointment. So most cervical screening in England is done in general practice. There are a few other locations like sexual health centres, or there may be other community clinics run by general practices in the community where you can have your cervical screening test. Okay. The test itself only takes about 2 minutes, but the entire appointment would be about 10 minutes. And it is generally done by female staff, female GPs or female nurses. And you, again, can always ask for a female sample taker, we call them, to do your test if you are uncomfortable. With cervical screening, it can be, uncomfortable. So women must feel confident enough to discuss any of their concerns with their GP or their nurse before and during the appointment. Yeah, so cervical cancer is one of the most preventable cancers in the United Kingdom and in the world, because with the cervical cancer screening program, we are checking for HPV, human papilloma virus. And when we test for this virus, if it is present in your sample, we then check for abnormalities in your cervical cells. And if those are found in your sample, you're then invited in, and further examinations will be done of your cervix. So most cervical cancers are caused by HPV, by this virus. It's important to note that the screening program actually is able to detect the cervical abnormalities caused by the virus, which eventually, if left untreated, could lead to cancer. But because we're detecting them early, we can actually remove them and prevent you from getting cancer. Also, really importantly, is for people to know that the vaccination program, we do offer year 8s, the HPV vaccine. So they get 2 doses. They get the first one and then the second dose 6 to 24 months later. And the combination of the screening program as well as the vaccination means that we're in a really good position to eliminate cervical cancer. So it is so important that boys and girls year 8 are vaccinated. And when people are invited for screening, when they hit age 25, they attend their cervical screening test, because we can eliminate cervical cancer. Wow. But we have, the issue of people find it embarrassing. People are embarrassed to go for their test. It can be an uncomfortable test. It can be a bit painful for some women. But it is important that you discuss any concerns with your sample taker, with your nurse. Okay. And if the appointment is uncomfortable, you can ask your nurse to stop at any stage and They can, try, like a smaller speculum, which is the piece of equipment we use to access the cervix.
Nice.
It's really, really important that you tell your loved ones, your nieces, your nephews, your daughters, your wives, your mums, that they must have their cervical screening, and all of the youngsters must be vaccinated.
Wow. That's good. That's good. That's knowledge for me, mate. I'm gonna be I won't go home and go, ladies, you know what I mean? But there's something, you can whisper, and you can just make sure that your female relatives, your female friends, not friends, but your people you're close with, you just make sure they're on top of it. Yeah. But
and the vaccine is offered to both boys and girls. So not only does it reduce the risk of cervical cancer, but it also reduces the risk of genital warts and throat cancers as well, and anal cancers. So there are benefits to boys as well of having the vaccine.
Vaccine, okay.
Yes, and if you missed the vaccine in year 8, you can get a free vaccine from your GP up to age 25. So you just need to call your practice, and they can schedule you in up to age 25 at no cost to you. Just
emphasize what vaccine is, just in case somebody just realize what you just say. Vaccine? What vaccine is this? You know what I mean?
So this is the HPV vaccine.
HPV, make sure
everyone, to 12 and 13-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's been in place, I think, possibly since 2006, 2007.
Okay, miss me. Cool.
Yes. But we do know that the uptake of the vaccine, again, is lower in London and lower in certain communities. So again, within our own ethnic minority communities and deprived communities, people who don't speak English as a first language, the uptake of the vaccine is lower than we would like. So it's really important to get that message that have the vaccine. And if you're under 25 and you haven't had it, please ring your GP and schedule it in. Speak to your relatives, all of them under 25, they should be vaccinated.
Yep.
It really is life-saving. And you're protected, as I said, against other cancers, not just cervical cancers, but anal cancers, throat cancers, oral mouth cancers, and genital warts.
Wow, you're going to have an uptake tomorrow, man. After this podcast, people are like, why we ran out of all this over the next week? It's Dr. Joe's fault. She told them. And now they're all out there. But no, that's fantastic. We're going on to breast cancer. Yeah, which I know. Yeah, I know somebody herself personally, but a relative. We had breast cancer as well, and this is an area which is almost a case of something where, as a man, it will be prostate cancer, but I suppose for women, it almost like a breast cancer area. It's like like something where we need to have a discussion about it, or we have to talk about screening it. But everybody's like not waving a hand about the experiences of what this disease has done to them, because of I think it's not, again, probably a taboo-ish issue, out there. So please, let's get into breast cancer and the screening process and how often it is. How often do females have to do this?
Yeah, I'm so glad you raised the issue of taboos, because I think in our communities there can be a taboo related to having cancer, and it's so important for us to hear and to realize that there is no shame in having cancer. And it's this shame that actually stops us at times from going to the doctor early enough, from seeking treatment and improving our treatment outcomes, our chances for survival. There is no shame, particularly in developing any type of cancer. So with breast cancer, one of the most significant risk factors is age, and 1 in 7 women will develop breast cancer in her life. So it's a really important message to get out there to women, that there mustn't be any shame in breast cancer. And really importantly, when you start receiving your breast screening invitations, so we send you invitations every 3 years, from the age of 50 to your 71st birthday, we would really urge people to attend their breast screening appointment, because again, breast screening saves lives, breast cancer screening saves lives. But as with the other cancer screening programs, our communities do not
engage in it. Yeah, they don't.
They don't come forward. They don't come forward to the same rate as other communities, and it's partly because of fear of the cancer diagnosis, or the fatalism or discomfort. The test can be a bit uncomfortable, but also embarrassment. Women don't want to expose their breasts, but all breast screening tests, we do a mammography. That's the breast screening test, which is a type of X-ray. All of the mammographers or the staff that will do the screening are women. Only done by women, so there is no need to be embarrassed. You'll be tested or screened by a woman who does this for a living, so they've seen many breasts, all shapes and sizes, so there's absolutely no embarrassment. You shouldn't feel any embarrassment or fear.
Do you think really looking within our cultures, and these are challenging questions, and these are questions which I want to pass on to the ministers, because there are a lot of unseen factors that come against the NHS when it comes to communities, and when it comes to the Black community, it's very Christ-centric, and ultimately it's a very healing community in terms of God is going to heal us. It's very centric to thinking that if you get disease, that's God punishing you. And people might say that's not preached, but there's almost a culture of fail. Because if you're saying to me 1 in 7 women are more likely to develop cancer, just see that ratio. I grew up in church full of women. Full of women. There's more women than men. I have never heard, I'm 46 years old, I've never heard a testimony from a woman about how she's battled breast cancer. Never in my life. And we have testimonies, we have opportunities to share, you know what I'm saying? But I've never heard that. Is that the case that, Roger, you spent 46 years in your life around women in church, and we know that there's platforms in our services to talk about struggles of this journey. It's not to say that we're not saying not to pray, we're not saying not to heal, but it's a case of we're looking at a bit of earthly wisdom here, a bit of practical wisdom. We need to be engaged like this. We need to be pushing for screening in all these 3 areas that are being discussed here by the doctor. Is a case of yes, you might think, okay, this is a big C, let's talk about the big C and the journey and fighting it, and we're going to pray through it. But you're really focusing. Screening is really about prevention
and early diagnosis, Roger. And the science and the technology and these advances in medicine are God-given. So there is no contradiction in being prayerful and being faithful, but actually seeking care, because this is insight and wisdom that has been given by God. And I think this is important for people to know and to understand that there is no contradiction. There's no contradiction at all.
I think when you're looking at a community and we have a lot of people working in the NHS, and let's be honest, we do make up a lot of the NHS and child services, and we make so much of the community and taking care of the community, but yet we don't really maximize or engage in solutions. We just engage in fixing and going back home, but we don't realize that we're going to be on the other side of it and receive the best care and the best support. We just be there to provide it and go back home. But we need to be coming back to our community. And the reason why I brought up the church, because it is an easy hub to engage with, and this is what this station engages with. And my challenge is out there to ministers, and even if you want to put comments in there, ministers, even if you want to come to me directly, if you want to contact the NHS to really bring in conversations with your congregations, in conventions, in a small setting. No, NHS is up for that as well.
Roger, just to say that in London we've done some big cancer screening campaigns and had great support from faith leaders.
Brilliant.
Not just Christian faith leaders, but also imams. So from various religions and so on. So the faith community, the faith leaders, community leaders do advocate for prevention and cancer screening.
That's brilliant.
But we need to do this across the board and be absolutely clear and consistent, so people do feel safe and empowered to save their own lives, to make the decisions that save their lives, and also to encourage their loved ones, their family and loved ones, to engage with the NHS, go for your immunizations, attend your screening, so you can actually have the best health and treatment outcomes.
No, that's absolutely fantastic, and it's great that we always think of the worst case scenario when it comes to testing, when it comes to cervical cancer and breast cancer. It's probably the same thing for men. When it comes to prostate cancer, but the NHS is happy to support, get past our fears, and it's not where we think it's at. Learned a lot about screening. Screening was not even part of my world when it came to cancer. And I appreciate you that you really open my eyes at screening. My biggest fear was, how do I, going back to what this information I told you at the beginning with my testing with my friends who died of cancer, how do I prevent that in my life? Hopefully I don't sound too fearful, but it's just seeing what I've seen.
Yes, yeah, and you know what, I think I see it as looking for information to empower yourself. So I definitely think that it's extremely positive that we all look for ways in which we can improve our health. So I think in general, and we talked about this at the top of the interview, that there are certain things that we can do in our lifestyles to reduce the risk of cancer. So reducing our alcohol consumption. Smoking is one of the biggest risk factors for many cancers. So stopping or reducing cancer, being physically active, eating a healthy diet that's high in fiber, in natural grains, and fresh fruit and veg. But also with a lot of cancers, there are certain risk factors that can't be modified. So age. So as you grow older and as we live longer, your chances of getting cancer become higher, which is then why screening becomes important, because we can detect early before cancer starts or at its very early stages. Good. But also being, self-aware. So if I talk specifically about breast screening, women should be attending screening every 3 years, but also being aware of any changes in your breast. So if you're, if there's a change, if you feel any lumps in your breast or a lump in your armpit or your nipple changes, or there's a discharge from your nipple. So doing those regular self-examination between screening and then going to your GP as soon as possible.
Brilliant.
Similarly with bowel cancer, it's also called colorectal cancer. If you have any change in bowel habit that lasts more than a week or two, if you see blood in your poo, you should have a discussion with your GP. With cervical cancer, of course, the most important thing, get vaccinated, take part in screening and so on. But early detection of those signs of cervical cancer, such as bleeding in between your periods, bleeding after sex, when abnormal discharge, you should go and visit your GP. So there is a lot that we can do to reduce our risk of developing cancer through living a healthy lifestyle. Good. And then taking up what the NHS offers us in terms of immunization and screening, but also be body aware. So what doesn't feel quite right, changing poo habits. There's that discharge, or I'm bleeding in between my periods. Go to your GP, don't delay, don't be embarrassed. We know that our GPs are busy, but your GP would rather you come in and we do any investigations if necessary and diagnose and treat anything early, rather than you staying at home because you think you're saving the GP's time, or you think it's nothing that will disappear.
Brilliant. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Wow. This is why, guys, I couldn't record 4 of these podcasts in one day, because I'll be just there buzzing at the end of the day. I've got to digest all this information out there. And I would encourage you, and it's important why we're doing this. I just want to emphasize for people, this is not going to be just played once. This is going to be on YouTube. So you got time to access it. You got time to ask questions. We're going to have the information in there so you can engage the NHS in this area. And we do appreciate Dr. Jo for coming on with us today, so she can explain that, the screening process. I feel empowered. You know what I mean? I feel like, I can control my destiny a bit here. Yeah. And I know in one way or another, we've had loved ones, friends of ours being affected by cancer. I can't think of anybody who could turn around and say that they don't know anybody. I believe we've been affected, from God's, even my granddad died of cancer, as the first person that I knew. 2 weeks later, he died. Found out he got cancer, and then 2 weeks later he died. And that was literally, I found out while I was on honeymoon. When I came back from honeymoon. So so that was a bit of a crazy period. But it's something where we're scared of, and we think of people just, since another cancer, they're gone. And I think, but when you really look into it, the signs were there 2 years before. It just no communication was given, and I just really appreciate, the fact that the NHS is really out there to communicate with us and to work with a journey of us that could be preventative, guys. So thanks, Dr. Joe, for giving us that powerful insight, man. And then we hope our community does engage in this area and contact your local GP, as they say. Anything else you want to add to that? You got any rallying cry at the end?
Yes, I just want to talk about very quickly about credible sources of information. The best single source of information for all the things that I've discussed, all things health, is www.nhs.uk. Okay. This is information that's coming from the NHS, from all the experts in the NHS, and you can go onto that website and search for anything, HPV, diet, cancer.
Wow.
So please use that as a definitive, credible source of information. There are others out there, but that's the single source where you'll find information on everything that we've discussed today: screening, immunization, healthy lifestyle, treatment, diagnosis, and so on. www.nhs.uk.
Guys, on that note, go to that website. On that note, we'll see you later, guys. You know what I'm saying? But thanks again, Dr. Joe, and thanks again, NHS, for this partnership. It's just been an honor, just to really work with our people to bring across knowledge and about the support that the NHS is giving, and also knowledge about the conditions themselves as well. So I appreciate that information, and I'm learned. But listen, guys, take care. Thanks again, Dr. Joe, man. Blessings, man.
Hey, this is your Bishop. This is your Bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing, and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta, and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of Black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.